Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Hope you're doing well today. Let's look at our cosmic weather. Starting off at spaceweather.com, our solar wind is blowing at 497.4 kilometers per second. Our planetary K-index at the present time is at a 1, and within the next 24 hours it may get up to a 3. We're going to discuss this coronal hole in just a little bit. And our chance of M-class and X-class flares, well, we got 70% of an M-class, 20 for an X-class. And then our geomagnetic storms, you can see in mid-latitudes, we're going to have active 10%. And in the higher latitudes, it's 10% that it's going to actually get severe. So we'll see how that works out. And we got another strong incoming CME, departing sunspot 1429, unleashed another strong flare on the 13th. An M7 class eruption that peaked around 1741 Universal Time. Although the sunspot is no longer facing Earth, the blast will affect our planet. Analysts at the Goddard Space Weather Lab say a CME is en route to Earth, and its impact is on March 15th. Could trigger minor to moderate geomagnetic storms, so we will take a look at that and pay attention to that. Also, protons accelerated by the flare are swarming around Earth, causing an S2 class radiation storm. Alright. Now, astrologically, our planets and stars system, still dealing with the same sign for the sun, which is Pisces. So our sign Pisces, conscious mind is in water. In the unconscious mind, today, we've moved all the way from where we were at a Scorpio. Now we've moved completely to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Sagittarius is about truth. It's about higher learning. It is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is one of the planets that we're seeing bright in the sky these days, along with Venus. So fire. So we got fire and water. Fire underneath, water on the surface. Alright, our moon sign, or our moon phase, is we are making our way down from the full moon back down to the new moon. We're 54% full, so only 54% to go. And on our Dreamspell, our calendar, we're at a 3-tone day. 3-tone day means we made it to the 3rd position in the wave spell. The position on the wave spell and the tone correlate. The kin for today is the serpent. Guide for today is the moon. So it's this 3 serpent guided by the moon. That's how you get the name of today. And the supporting cast members around it are the eagle, as the antipode. The analog is the wizard. And the occult power underneath is the warrior. Altogether, these are the supporting cast. And the phrase for today is, I activate in order to survive bonding instinct. I seal the store of life force with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of universal water. And on the Gregorian calendar, it is Wednesday, March 14th, 2012. Alright, that catches you up to speed with what's going on right there. Alright. Here's how we're going to start things off today. I'm going to play this video here. Title of this video is The FBI Does Not Like This Video. Why don't they like this video? Well, because this is an American citizen, a mother of 5, being interviewed by the FBI. So this is a great opportunity to see what they say when they come up to the house, and some good points that are made along the way. So let me go ahead and play this for you. I think you'll find this to be very informative. Here we go. Alright, here we go.
The Joint Terrorism Task Force Division of the FBI sent 2 agents out to my house to visit me. I'm a part-time peace activist, a full-time mom of 5 kids, and a part-time registered nurse. These two agents knocked on my door. They verified their identities with me, and they also verified my identity. At that point, I shut my door, went inside, and grabbed my video camera. This is what followed when I opened my door. Yeah, go ahead and show me your badge again, and tell me your names. And where are you from? You're with who?
FBI.
FBI? And why are you here? To talk to me?
Just talk about some of your activities and just...
And what activities are those?
Not exactly the protesting, but what may happen from the protesting.
Not the protesting. Now, which protest in particular are you talking about?
Not sure. That's what we're here to talk to you about.
Okay, well, how did you hear about me?
I can't tell you that.
You can't tell me.
It was a call-in.
A call-in. A call-in from who?
Can't tell you that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So you're with the FBI. You're here knocking on my door. Here, I'm a mother of 5 kids. And here you are. This young lady here, too, is knocking on my door. She's with the FBI to question me about a protest. Okay, so go ahead and start questioning me.
Yes, ma'am. Is
Thank
something
you.
we consider, or... You just want to do it out here?
Yeah, let's do it out here.
Okay. Basically, we have nothing about the protest. The call-in was more concerned about what may happen from the protest.
So what may happen from the protest?
That's
You
what
tell
we're
me.
here to ask you. All we're to make
Oh,
sure
really?
is everyone is safe and no
Okay.
one gets hurt.
We
That's
don't
all
want
we're here
anyone hurt. We want everyone safe.
for. Yes, ma'am.
What a noble cause. Okay, so go ahead and ask away.
Are there any plans on any type of activity that would hurt anyone, cause any pain to anyone, or destroy any property?
You gotta be kidding. Destroy property? Like, what kind of property?
Any property. Private property, government property, any property.
Okay, so you're saying that you think me, a mother of 5 kids, 5 wonderful kids, a registered nurse here in Austin, is going to go destroy property and have her life endangered. This is incredible.
We don't think that at all. We're here to ask you about that.
Okay, all right.
I'm
So
not-
you're asking me if I'm going to destroy property.
No. I'm asking you if you know of anything that would destroy property.
If I know of okay, so I'm going to tell you if I know
Ma'am.
about anybody who's going to destroy property. Really?
I'm really confused on this part.
Okay.
If you just answer the questions, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know
And what if I
anybody's gonna answer
plead,
it.
what if I plead the right to remain silent, then
That's
what will
fine.
happen to me?
That's fine. Nothing.
You'll just leave.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but I'm still curious. Go ahead and ask away.
Well, I've asked the question. Do you know of any plans to destroy any property?
I'm going to plead silence on that. Next question.
Okay. That's it. I mean, we just want to make sure everybody stays safe.
Stay safe. Okay, great. Great.
Do you know of any concerns that you would have concerning us being here?
Yes, I'm very
You can
concerned
ask
that
us
I get
any
a knock
question.
on my door from the FBI. Very concerned about it, and I
Do you
think
have
a
any
lot of
questions
people
you'd
will
like
want to
to
hear about this.
Do you have any questions for us?
Well, who's your next person that you're going to stop to here in Austin or in Texas?
I can't tell you that.
You
ma'am.
can't tell me that.
If you want our card, this is
I love your card.
okay.
Okay.
I'm confused on why you won't answer the questions concerning
Because
destruction
I
of
have a right
property.
to remain silent.
Yes, you do. That's fine.
Right.
But I don't understand all this part of it.
You don't understand this part. Well, I think the American people need to know that when they participate in a protest against something legitimate that they
Again.
feel they can protest against, that they may get a knock on their door from the FBI. So this
Again,
is something that we
has
all
nothing to do
need
with
to
the
know.
Protest. Nothing to do with the protest.
Okay, and I suppose what you're saying to me hasn't been altered by the fact that I have a video camera of this.
No, I told you that when you answered the door earlier. That had
Excellent.
nothing to do with the protest.
Very good.
I said you have the right to protest,
Okay.
but you don't have the right to destroy property. You don't have the right to hurt people.
Okay, so I really think, and I'm sure a lot of people would think, that this woman here would go around destroying property and hurting people in a
It's
protest.
also just knowing information about if anything like that would happen, not necessarily that you would do it, is if you had information of that happening. Because what our job is to try to prevent acts of violence before they occur.
Okay.
So it's not particular to you, it's if you had any idea of anyone that would do those sorts of things.
Okay, very good. Thanks for adding that. Anything else you want to ask me?
No, ma'am. I figured.
Should I expect that y'all will be back again after my next protest?
No. Again, it's not on the protest.
Okay, it's on, do I know of any knowledge of anybody that's going to destroy property and hurt people?
I don't even know what you protest. I don't have any idea.
Okay.
But if
it would be very easy for you to find out. Just go. You can guess.
The Free Palestine movement.
Oh, okay, with the Free Palestine movement, yes. I do advertise that on my door. Just by having a flag. Just by having a flag on my door. And it's wonderful. Why is that so wonderful?
Protest is what makes this country great.
Okay.
I mean, it's part of your rights.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm just confused on why you wouldn't answer a question about knowing any type of violence that would happen.
That can be your mystery to solve.
Okay.
U.S. tax dollars at work.
Okay. Well, I sure appreciate your time. If you need anything, give us a call. If you have any
I
questions,
sure will. Maybe I'll see you at the next protest. You'll have the right to protest, too. Why don't you join in for a just cause for the sake of humanity, human rights, and maybe you don't want so many of your tax dollars going to destroy people and stealing their land, do you? $7 million a day is how much money we send to the state of Israel. $7 million a day. So let me ask you what you think about that.
Politically wise, I can't answer my political views.
Maybe off the record we can meet sometime, talk about your political views. How about you? Do you think we should be sending $7 million a day to Israel so they can steal land, rip up people's olive trees, illegally take land? Do you think we should be sending $7 million a day?
Again, I can't voice my political views.
All right, we'll do that off the record.
I would like to sit down with you anytime off the record.
Well, maybe we will.
Okay, it'd be fine. I sure appreciate your time. If you need any questions for us, again, nothing to do with your protesting. It's just we want to know information on what could happen illegally to hurt others.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. I highly question the concept of talking off the record. I have no plans to talk off the record with any special agents, whether they be from FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, or any governmental agency.
Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. So even though at the beginning he had mentioned the protest when he first spoke to her, it wasn't about the protest. Now, and he kept asking, did she know of any plans? I do. And you know where I get my information? Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. They talk about, believe this or not, FBI, the president wants to go and fight a war in another country without Congress's approval. They're announcing that on Fox and on CNN. You should go check those out because those are some good sources, and I bet you could find some people there to question, like Bill O'Reilly. I bet you can question him. I bet you could question Anderson Cooper. I bet there's a bunch of folks there because on a daily basis they talk about this war. And then we got these presidential candidates like Santorum and Romney. They want to bomb. You should go maybe talk to them because it sounds like they have plans to hurt something and destroy property. Okay? I don't have those kind of plans. I don't know anybody that has those kind of plans that are friends of mine, but I am aware that when I turn on the television set and can flip through, I can see lots of those working for the media, the mainstream media, that are talking about damaging property and hurting people. So I think that there's some places where you can start and go ask them some questions. Right on. Way to go. And the rest of Americans, so you know, that's what a terrorist organization looks like. They claim to be American, but they're really a terrorist organization. And when asked what they think, something that has to do with integrity and a humanitarian thing of should we be bombing and doing these things, they tie that together with politics. Shouldn't have anything to do with politics. It just should have something to do with what's right and what's wrong. But apparently, they aren't teaching the FBI what's right and what's wrong. They're teaching them to follow along like puppets. And they do a great job of it. So, good for you, FBI. Way to go. Way to be puppets. And we're hopeful that one day you will actually stand up and not be a pawn agency. Okay? Anyway, I've said my piece on that. Let's move on.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, we're back, and this is the UFO News. Let me pull this up here. All right, first story. Got a bunch of stories for us today. First one comes to us out of New York City. Donut-shaped UFO over New York City. Uh-oh, must have the police running like crazy seeing this UFO, huh? Donut-shaped UFO. Alright, what do we get rid of this? Alright, come on, get away from there. Donut-shaped UFO over New York City. Let's just take a look at the video here. See what we have. Oh, look at that. And on the ground right now, thousands of New York police officers are chasing after this floating donut. That's right, my friends. They're chasing after this. Alright, there you go. Floating donut in the sky in New York City. Alright, moving on. Next one here. 15th anniversary of Phoenix Lights. Arizona governor admits probably an alien spacecraft. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. If I can get this to quit acting up.
Clive Symington is now a businessman. He was the Republican governor of Arizona for 6 years, elected when the first George Bush was president. Now, a decade after leaving the State House, he takes me to a Phoenix park and discloses something unlike anything uttered by any other high-level U.S. politician.
If you had been here 10 years ago and standing out here and looking up there at the lights and the view, you would have been astounded. You would have been amazed.
Governor Symington is referring to what is now known as the Phoenix Lights, an object videotaped by many and seen by thousands over several nights in the Arizona sky in 1997.
Major sighting here.
It was described by witnesses as larger than a football field and silent.
It was a giant V, all right? And the right side of the V went over us. The left side was like a couple blocks over it.
We just didn't know what to do. You know, it was just like, my God, how big is this thing?
The great state of Arizona, Clive Symington.
The former governor, a Vietnam Air Force veteran, had never publicly acknowledged seeing it until now.
And I suspect that unless the Defense Department proves us otherwise, that it was probably some form of an alien spacecraft.
So why didn't he say anything then? Partly, he says, because he didn't want people to panic.
And I think as a public figure, you have to be very careful about what you say, because people can have pretty emotional reactions, and I said my goal wasn't to try to stir the pot.
And he went to humorous and controversial lengths not to stir the pot. He held a news conference after the Phoenix Lights to announce the mystery had been solved.
And now I'll ask Officer Stein and his colleagues to escort the accused into the room so that we may all look upon the guilty party. Don't get him too close to me, please.
In the alien costume, the governor's chief of staff.
Now, this just goes to show that you guys are entirely too serious.
UFO enthusiasts were not amused, especially since the governor was believed to have seen nothing. But now he's coming out.
The lights were really brilliant, and it was just fascinating. I mean, it was enormous. It just felt otherworldly. You know, in your gut, you could just tell it was otherworldly.
Symington will be talking about this in an updated film about UFOs called Out of the Blue. He has also talked with an organization that wants UFO information more out in the open.
It's very significant that someone of the stature of a governor would come out and say that they acknowledge that they experienced a UFO, because it brings a lot of credibility and strength to the case.
Governor Simonton says he did tell his family, friends, and staff about what he saw early on.
I still, behind the scenes, tried to investigate it, but I got nowhere.
So what were the Phoenix Lights? Well, frankly, we don't know. What we do know is that it's as much of a mystery today as it was a decade ago. Gary Tuckman, CNN, Phoenix.
All right, so just a thought here. I mean, you heard what he said. He didn't want to initially tell the people because people have emotions. You know what, politicians? You need to realize people are stronger and have the ability to handle things a lot more than you give them credit for. So at that time, imagine what might have happened had you admitted that you had seen something. Instead of 10 years going by, 15 years now going by, imagine what would have happened if you would have come clean then. Might have really made a big difference then. So politicians, you got to stop thinking that you're protecting the people by saying nothing, because that kind of ties into the thing of people who say and do nothing. That's why things happen. So get with the program, would you? Politicians, get with the program. All right, this one comes to us from Belleview, Florida on the 11th. Triangle Craft. There we go. Let's see what we got. All right. All right, well, you know what? We're not going to bother with that. I got the link available if you want to see it. We're going to go on this one here then. UFO caught on tape over San Diego Air Base. Is this the case UFO skeptics have been dreading? Sightings of mysterious flying craft with capabilities unknown on Earth have confounded mankind throughout recorded history. Most have been convincingly explained away as unfamiliar aircraft, natural phenomena, or illusions. But then there are others, witnessed in our time by pilots and air traffic controllers, military leaders, scientists, law enforcement officers, and other trained observers, sometimes with physical evidence including corroboration on film and video. We don't know what they are, says Nick Pope, a former head of the official UFO office in Britain's Ministry of Defense, but they do exist. As agreed by authorities around the world, these truly unexplainable, unidentified flying objects appear solid, metallic, and luminous, able to operate with speeds and maneuvers that defy the laws of physics, and most chilling of all, they often behave as if under intelligent control. One such case came just into light in Chile and was presented by government officials for the first time at a press conference on March 13th. It was a glorious Sunday morning, November 5, 2010, when crowds gathered to celebrate the changing of Air Force Command at El Bosque Air Force Base in Santiago. From different locations, spectators aimed video cameras and cell phones at groups of acrobatic and fighter jets performing at the air show overhead. Nobody saw anything amiss, but afterward an engineer from the adjacent Pilan aircraft factory noticed something bizarre while viewing the footage in slow motion. He turned it over to the government's well-known Committee for the Study of Anomalous Aerial Phenomena, or CEFFA, for analysis. Let's take a look and see what was seen here. All right. CFA was established in 1997 within the Department of Civil Aeronautics for the equivalent of our FAA. Its creation was sparked when the aeronautics specialists and others reported multiple sightings of anomalous lights near Aeropuerto Calata. All right, here we go. This was from 2010. This was seen. There you go. Look at that object right there. Now, it's not the light. It's the object in the light. Okay. All right, there you can see it. All right, so this is what they filmed in the sky. The link's available so you can check it out further. All right, our next story here. A giant triangle door opens in the sun. Now, I showed you that when I did the report just a little while ago. I showed you the sun. We actually talked about it a couple days ago. Okay, this is the object that's up there. It's a triangle. But this article says giant triangle door opens in the sun. NASA sees it, circles it. Okay, here it is again. And more charts. Why would this happen? Perhaps the sun's energy is being harvested by aliens, but more likely something is opening like a door, allowing a mothership to enter or exit. Alien tech would be so advanced that the heat of the sun could not harm their ships. The first eyewitness to it states, "I honestly don't know if I should post this in space exploration, paranormal phenomena, aliens, or UFOs or global meltdown topics. I'm baffled, jaw-dropped, and astonished. Videos and images show a monster coronal hole in the sun with the perfect shape of a triangle. They were uploaded on NASA's SDO website. It definitely no glitch. It's a perfect triangle-shaped coronal hole. It appears in all spectrum of graphics and views and images and must be very important because NASA highlighted it." All right. So this is just showing all the different views that are out there. Okay, you can see in all the different views. So it's not like it's a one-time thing in one shot, not the others. Now here's where it gets interesting, because this next story says, newly discovered artifacts prove Mayans had alien contact. Okay, check this out as the plot thickens here. Amazing new Mayan artifacts prove that extraterrestrial connection between the Maya and their galactic visitors, furthering the preponderance on the December 21st, 2012 end date of the long count calendar. Many people have speculated that Maya were visited by extraterrestrials and that at least one of their deities, Kukulkan, also known as Quetzalcoatl by the Aztecs, may have been a galactic visitor who taught the Maya about agriculture, mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. How else could one explain the Mayan calendar? A calendar that to this day can accurately predict every major eclipse within 30 seconds. The Maya knew of planets that were not discovered until many centuries later. They were also the first civilization to use zero in mathematics. Interestingly, while Quetzalcoatl was described by Maya as appearing to be Caucasian, having blonde hair and blue eyes, some of the artifacts appear to have African characteristics, thus giving credence to the hypothesis that our civilization was seeded from various star nations. The demise of the Mayan civilization came in 1521 when Hernan Cortez invaded the Maya during the Spanish conquest of the Yucatan, funded by the Roman Catholic Church. Cortez believed the Maya were a pagan civilization and ordered his conquistadors to raid the Mayan buildings. Books, biographies, musical compositions, histories, genealogies, and other Mayan works were burned, thus destroying nearly every trace of this great civilization. Thanks to the Roman Catholic Church for that. Now the Mayans may hold the ultimate answer to UFO disclosure. Additionally, according to Drundalo Melchizedek, there are 1,000 of Mayan codices that were discovered in the basement of a museum library after many people believed that all but 4 codices were destroyed. This shows how long the media have been deceiving the public. If the Spanish supposedly destroyed all of the Maya books, texts, calendars, and manuscripts, then why do such works such as the Dresden codices still exist? Linguist Cliff High stated the 11:11 a.m. alignment on December 21st, 2012 was deliberately created by Pope Gregory under the direction of the powers that be at that time. They took a German mathematician who assembled a team and they used this text that theoretically do not exist. Many of the Mayan books said that they were also weren't burned, but crated up and taken back to the Vatican as part of the payoff for the expedition and the slicing of the planet between the Spanish and the Portuguese by the Pope at that time. Pope Gregory brought aboard a team of mathematicians who spent 5 months at the reconciliation level alone to get the Gregorian calendar to align specifically with the end of the Mayan calendar with these particular numbers. They wanted the 11:11 a.m. because 11 is the number of mastery. It is one of the numbers beyond divinity, and 11:11 combo brings you to 22, which is the number for sainthood or ascension. The whole 2012 date continuously points back to the Holy Cross or the swastika. If you look down the swastika, it's both the double cross, indicating the 4-side pyramid, the 5-side counting the bottom, but it also represents a solar effect. The solar effect can be seen from the sun or outside the earth, but we can see it from here. The effect twists somewhat to create an image similar to the swastika. It's been encoded as a reference to solar activity that will occur around 2012. Now, what I want to show you here is these different artifacts that were found. And I'm going to let you, there's a lot of stuff here to watch, but the one most particular interesting of all of these is this very bottom one right here. And you can see a lot of these have alien images on them. But this very, very bottom one here, well, this is supposed to be the sun. And look what's in the middle of the sun. A triangle. A triangle in the middle of the sun. Just like right now there is a triangle in the middle of our sun. Is there any any reason, or is this a coincidence? Well, I don't necessarily believe that coincidences just happen of their own accord. I believe that they happen because they're part of a bigger picture. So, something to pay attention to. We're going to keep watching this triangle on the sun, see what goes on with it. That's the UFO news. Let's jump away to a song. I'll be back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I and the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
Alright, the reason I play that video every single day is because I want people to wake up to the truth. Americans, I know that you are trusting in your governments and your law enforcement agencies. Unfortunately, they have become the very terrorist agencies and organizations that are actually hurting you. And that's sad. That's sad because this is a great country. There's a lot of great people in this country, but there's some real bad apples that are in the government and in the law enforcement agencies, and they are the terrorists that are hurting America. And yet they're pointing the fingers, trying to blame others for the problems that are going on. They need to point the fingers at themselves because they're causing the problems. Now, this political election that's going on, it's kind of disgusting to watching all the cheating that's going on, and how you got Romney who wants war, and you got Santorum who wants war, and Gingrich who wants war. They all think it's so great we should just go over and create these wars. Put a gun in those guys' hands, put boots on their feet, and send them over there. See how willing they are. How about Romney? Is he willing to send his kids over there? Or Santorum? How about him? Gingrich? You know, are they willing to send their loved ones into battle, or are they just willing to carelessly and casually talk about all these wars that should go on without their own personal sacrifice? Seems a bit unfair, but you know what? That's America. Politicians that are actually terrorists are running this country, and the good people of this country, they're the ones who are being called potential domestic terrorists. That's wrong. The terrorists are in the government, my friends. That's where it is. That's what the problem is. Just like the Declaration of Independence, we're full circle. Just like then, when they pulled away because they realized the tyranny of their government, we've come full circle. And this government has become tyrannical towards the American people. The American people need to step up and realize that the government and the law enforcement agencies are now the problem, and we need to stand up against them. We need to make sure they're out of office. We need to talk about the corruption that they're doing, because they are the ones hurting America. They are the ones hurting this country. Now, Ron Paul, he has some really great things to say, but he's being marginalized by the media because they don't get paid by Ron Paul. They get paid by the corporations that don't want Ron Paul. So they lie. But Ron Paul, well, he's going to keep talking. And he's going to keep spreading this message. Let's hear what he has to say for his weekly report.
Paul with your weekly update for March 12th. Have certain parts of the Constitution become irrelevant, as a former Republican leader once told me at a Foreign Affairs Committee hearing? At the time, I was told that demanding a congressional declaration of war before invading Iraq, as Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution requires, was unnecessary and anachronistic. Congress and the President then proceeded without a constitutional declaration, and the disastrous Iraq invasion was the result. Last week, Obama's administration officials made it clear that even the fig leaf of congressional participation provided by the 2003 authorization to use force in Iraq was to be ignored as well. In a hearing before the Senate Armed Services Committee, Defense Secretary Leon Panetta stated clearly and repeatedly that the administration felt it was legally justified to use military force against Syria solely with international permission. Such international permission could come by way of the United Nations, NATO, or some other international body. Secretary Panetta then told Senator Sessions that depending on the situation, the administration would consider informing Congress of its decision and might even seek authorization after the fact. While Senator Sessions expressed surprise at the casual audacity of Panetta in making this statement, in reality, his was just a bluntly stated explanation of what has been, de facto, the case for many years. When President Obama committed the U.S. military to a preemptive war against Libya last year, for example, Congress was kept completely out of the process. Likewise, military action in Iraq, Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen, and so on proceed without a congressional declaration. In fact, we haven't had a proper declaration of war since 1942, yet the U.S. military has been engaged in Korea, Lebanon, Iraq, Bosnia, Liberia, Haiti, and Libya with only UN resolutions as the authority. Congress's only role has been authorizing funds, which it always does without question, because one must support the troops. Of course, we should reserve our harshest criticism for Congress rather than the administration. If the people's branch of government abrogates its constitutional authority to the executive branch, who is to blame? Who is to blame that Congress as a body will not stand up and demand that the President treat the Constitution as more than an anachronistic piece of paper or merely a set of aspirations and guidelines? The Constitution is the law of the land, and for Congress to allow it to be flouted speaks as badly about Congress as it does about a president who seeks to do the flouting. Just last week, the administration announced that it would begin providing material support to the rebels who seek to overthrow the Syrian government. Was Congress involved in this decision to take sides in what may develop into a full-fledged civil war? And what of reports that U.S. Special Forces may already be operating inside Syria? Still, Congress sits silently as its authority is undermined. Does anybody really wonder why approval numbers for Congress are so low? Many of my colleagues who stood by when President Bush used the military as a kind of king's army are now calling for Congress to act against this president for openly admitting that is his intent. I agree. It's time for congressional action to respond to these attacks on our Constitution, but the solution is simple and constitutional. The solution is simply voting to withhold funds since Congress has the power of the purse. No money for undeclared wars. Thanks for calling this update. A new update is placed on this number, 888-322-1414. Every Monday, the written text can be found on my website, www.house.gov/Paul, under the heading Texas Straight Talk. Thanks for calling.
All right, very good. There's our Ron Paul, the weekly report. All right, this next thing I want to show you, I'm only going to touch it briefly because this irritates me greatly, and I just want people to know. This here is a corrupt police officer. Dan Cole is his name. Dan Cole shot a girl that was handcuffed, a 20-year-old girl, in the back of the head with a taser gun. She was handcuffed. He shot her. The girl is now brain dead. The girl is brain dead because this guy, this coward, shot her in the back while she was handcuffed. If you're in Florida, you need to be aware of this guy, Dan Cole, because they justified his actions. They justified his behavior in doing this. This is a corrupt police officer. Dan Cole, you need to turn yourself in. But better than that, this karma is going to chase you the rest of your life. And I hope it haunts you, Dan. I hope it does. But here's what you can do. I'm going to make a suggestion to you. Why don't you take your taser gun, put it to the back of your head and pull the trigger. See how that feels. That way you'll get exactly what you gave to that girl. And if you drop dead and go brain dead, well, that's all right. Because then there'll be one less cowardice police officer that's out there that can hurt the American people. Okay? That's my point to you. I think you're a scumbag for doing that, and I think you need to be off the police force. And anyone who justifies this is wrong. So if you're out there in Florida and you see this highway cop, Dan Cole, be careful. This guy is dangerous. He's armed and dangerous. Next one. Let's go over to here what Judge Napolitano says. Rome wasn't destroyed in a day. And you know what? He's right. It's being destroyed just in the same way America is being destroyed by the politicians who tell you they're your friends.
Does the government work for us, or do we work for the government? What can history teach us about war and debt? Tonight, the decline and fall of the Roman Empire and the future of America. The Roman Empire began as a kingdom in 753 BC, and by 500 BC it had a representative form of government. A few hundred years later came Julius Caesar, a Roman general, who bucked the Roman Senate and started a civil war that ended up with him as the emperor. By the 2nd century AD, the Roman Empire encircled the entire Mediterranean and went all the way up to Britain. Also by the 2nd century AD, the output from Roman silver mines had peaked. Silver was used to mint Roman currency. It was also traded for silk with India and China. The Romans were duped by their lust for luxury. While silk was perceived as a luxury good by the Roman elites who imported it, it was worth much less than the silver that they exchanged for it. So what did the Roman emperors do once the availability of silver for currency began to decline? They debased their currency. They minted coins with less silver in the coins than the face value of the coins indicated. The Roman government literally stole money from the populace by literally taking the value out of each coin. They couldn't borrow money from China to fund their wars in France, so they operated under the fiction of a debased currency instead. This didn't last very long, and eventually it became evident, it became well known that Roman currency was being debased, and its value sunk like a rock in a pond. Stated differently, the Roman government lied, cheated, and stole from its own people. And when the people discovered this, massive inflation ensued. When the value of the coins they were minting began to eat into the economic power of the Roman elites, they turned increasingly to the military. You see, the Romans had this crazy idea that they could become rich by fighting wars. They actually thought that by taxing people and using the taxes to buy military hardware and using the hardware to conquer foreigners and instilling Roman culture in those foreigners, they, the Romans, would somehow be prosperous. Instead, they spent themselves into a decline they couldn't get out of. The Roman elites had become accustomed to a lifestyle only available to them from cheap labor and government theft. And the masses were kept happy by bread and circuses the Roman emperors gave away with the wealth they had stolen through inflation and taxes. Sound familiar? It should. The United States is the most powerful force in the world since the Roman Empire. We have 900 permanent military installations around the world, and we are going down the same road that the Romans did. We are expanding our empire through wars of choice. We are devaluing our currency. We are allowing the government to bribe us with the money it has taken from us. But unlike the Romans, the Federal Reserve doesn't even pretend the dollar is backed by anything other than the government's word. The government's word. Now, who would trust that? And yet, that doesn't curb the Federal Reserve's ability to debase the currency by printing trillions of dollars of it. What's more, the U.S. government devalues our currency at a rate the most ambitious of Roman emperors could never imagine, because the federal government can also borrow against its future. In the Roman times, there was no borrowing. There was no such thing as credit cards. But the federal government has a credit card. Right now, it has used up its $14.3 trillion line of credit. President Obama wants to extend that for nearly the 100th time, this time up to $17 trillion, so we can go down the Roman road of decline a lot faster. We have wars of opportunity in 5 countries, none of which were declared by Congress. We have a president who tells the people he is bringing the troops home, and generals who don't like it, and economists who advise the president that war is the health of the state. And we have a president who, even as I speak, is dining at the most expensive restaurant in New York City with folks who are paying $38,000 a plate to be with him, whom he once called fat cats, while 1 in 7 Americans is on food stamps and 1 in 10 adults is out of work. Will we learn from history, or will we join the Romans in the dustbin of history, a history of once great peoples who sent themselves into oblivion? Want to spend into oblivion like the Romans? Just raise the debt ceiling and keep the borrowing up. Want to stop the madness? Just say no to more debt. It's up to us. It's up to you. From New York.
And that's the scary part, that it's up to us. Because there's a lot of misinformed people in this country that don't care. America's going to fall, you know that. It is, because there are too many people who don't care, that have been so uneducated that they don't have the ability to be able to understand what's going on. So it's not their fault. They're just victims of the system. And since we have so many victims in this country that are victims of the system, they can very easily claim why they are so apathetic and they don't really care about what's going on, because they're victims. And you just need to have the government keep helping you, because the government does such a great job and the country's going down the tubes and they're destroying it. Got to be some good Americans out there somewhere. There's got to be some patriots. I know there are. We got to stand up against this tyranny. You got to speak out about it. I don't hear enough people speaking out about it. I hear too many people siding with these ideas, backing them, justifying them. All of your justifications are part of the problem. You got to stop that, and you got to stop it now. Now, here is an airport that is standing up. Major airport to evict TSA screeners. This is Paul Joseph Watson at InfoWars. One of America's busiest airports, Orlando Sanford International, has announced it will opt out of TSA workers to screen passengers, a move which threatens the highly unpopular federal agency's role in other airports across the nation. The president of the airport said Tuesday that he would apply again to use private operators to screen passengers using federal standards and oversight. Reports the Miami Herald, with Sanford International having originally been prevented by the TSA from opting out back in November 2010, when the federal agency froze the ability for airports to use their own private screeners. A law passed by the Senate last month forces the TSA to reconsider applications. Larry Dale hinted that the move was motivated by the innumerable horror stories passengers have told of their encounters with the TSA, noting that the change was designed to provide a more customer-friendly operation. Well, it's good to see that there's at least one airport that is wising up. Come on now, Americans don't need to be treated like this. Do they? Or do you feel it's justified? Maybe you do. Maybe you feel that you are safer because you're going to the airport and you've got someone there fondling you or your children. Maybe you feel that that's the way it should be. And if so, I don't know what to tell you other than you've got some information that's really screwed up inside your head, if that's what you think. And you need to fix that, and you need to change that, because it's not very good. It's not a good thing. Next story. Why am I leaving Goldman Sachs? Today is my last day at Goldman Sachs after almost 12 years at the firm. First as summer intern at Stanford, then in New York for 10 years, and now in London. I believe I have worked there long enough to understand the trajectory of its culture, its people, and its identity, and I can honestly say that the environment now is as toxic and as destructive as I have ever seen it. To put the problem in its simplest terms, the interests of the client continue to be sidelined. In a way, the firm operates and thinks about making history. Goldman Sachs is one of the world's largest and most important investment banks, and it is too integral to global finance to continue to act this way. The firm has veered so far from the place I joined right out of college that I can no longer in good conscience say that I identify what it stands for. It might sound surprising to a skeptical public, but culture was always a vital part of Goldman Sachs' success. It revolved around teamwork, integrity, and a spirit of humility, and always doing right by our clients. The culture was the secret sauce that made the place great and allowed us to earn our clients' trust for 143 years. It wasn't just about making money. This alone will not sustain a firm for so long. It had something to do with pride and a belief in the organization. I'm sad to say that I look around today and see virtually no trace of the culture that made me love working for this firm for many years. I no longer have the pride or the belief. All right, I'm going to leave the article there. You can read the rest of it yourself. But it's good. See, there are good people out there that do have a conscience when they think about what's going on. We need to have police officers get more of a conscience and walk away from what they are doing. We need to have more military leaders and politicians and congressmen get a conscience and actually stand up and do the right thing. So far they're not, but we're going to be hopeful that they will. Now, here you go. If you're homeless, here's an opportunity for you. Homeless people used as mobile Wi-Fi hotspots. All right. Let me see here. A New York advertising firm is facing criticism for its homeless hotspots program at the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. Homeless participants were able to earn cash by wearing devices around their necks that turned them into roving wireless hotspots. How about that? Which product of the year at the South by Southwest Technology Conference received more attention than perhaps any other? Homeless people as wireless transmitters. A marketing agency touched off a wave of criticism and debate when it hired members of the local homeless population to walk around carrying mobile Wi-Fi devices offering conference goers internet access in exchange for donations. BBH Labs, the innovation unit of the International Marketing Agency, BBH, outfitted 13 volunteers from a homeless shelter with the devices, business cards, and T-shirts bearing their names. I'm Clarence, a 4G hotspot. They were told to go to the most densely packed area of the conference, which has been a magnet for those who want to chase the latest in technology trends. Remember the movie Matrix, and where there was the realization that humans were being used for batteries? Well, these aren't actually batteries, but really they're being used in a similar kind of way to provide... people, when are you going to wake up out there, folks? I mean, I just don't understand how all this goes on and people still sleep. It's just mind-boggling. All right, this very last story here is there was another earthquake in Japan. Actually, 2 more earthquakes. This is Dutch Since. It's going to tell us about them. Here we go. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Dutch Sense here. 5:45 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday, March 14th, 2012. And I just wanted to show you a couple things that are going on here. First of all, Several people are reporting that the earthquake is much larger than a 6.8, more like a 7.4 to 7.6. Now, the USGS has just come on and add on a second 6.8 magnitude earthquake. So it looks like either two back-to-back in different locations. You can see here just slightly off from each other. That's the USGS. They don't normally do this, so you can see it for sure. Let's just go ahead and zoom it in. You can get a much better idea of what's going on here. Okay, so you have two earthquakes, 6.8 magnitude, and over on my blog, I pulled the seismic data from other agencies just so you can get an idea of what's going on magnitude-wise. And the Australians are reporting a 7.4. Took a screenshot of that just so you guys could see that. USGS reporting one 6.8 originally. I took a screenshot of that. And now we have two. And then here's the European agency. They reported it preliminary at a 6.9. So whatever it is, big time earthquake, big time two earthquakes, and that's something that to me stands out as we need to pay attention to this immediately and be aware of the situation, because if a large earthquake does occur, then we're looking at a sizable tsunami again from the same region, and we know what happened the last time. So just be prepared just in case. And if you get any confirmation on this, or if you get any more earthquake reports, please let me know. Put it down below the video, okay?
All right. How weird is it that just a year after the last earthquake, there's another significant one out there. Two significant ones. How weird is that, huh? Very strange. All right. Last thing we're going to do today before we close out the show is our meditation and prayer, as always. I know I complain a lot about things and get all riled up about things that are going on. Can't help it sometimes. It's just very frustrating, you know, to see all the news and the corruption that's in the world. But I always want to bring it back full circle that, you know what, even though there's these problems going on, that we have the ability to rise above these problems. Each and every day we can rise above them. So that is the idea. That is why the prayer and the meditation. So that we can learn to rise above. So, that in mind, go ahead and close your eyes. And relax. Alright. I want you to imagine that you are walking along. And as you are walking along the path that you are on, it becomes like quicksand. And it's black. And as you walk through it, you begin sinking. And as you are sinking slowly, you realize that all of this black quicksand is just problems, negativity, doubts and fears. And as you experience this and realize this, you have a desire to want to rise above these problems. And as you desire to rise above them, you notice yourself rising up out of the muck, till you are once again walking upon the surface. And even yet you still rise a bit higher, so you are walking on air. And you realize that rising above our problems is not that challenging. We just have to have a desire to want to do that. And if we desire to rise above, we shall do so. Because the things we are capable are quite amazing. So we rise above and we move forward in life knowing that despite the corruptions and the lies and the deceits, that healing can still take place. And we can become better for it. Let's imagine that all of our chakras are activated. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and indigo, going from the bottom of the spine up. Let's imagine sending love all around the planet, to everyone on the planet, to all those good folks that you would want to send love to, and to all of those that are the enemies that have done wrong. You've got to send love to them too. Top of the prayer list with them, because they are just misguided and misinformed. And perhaps through our prayers and our love, the misinformed can become a bit more aware. Let's imagine a good day for everyone around the planet. And with that, we'll bring our energy and attention back to the present moment. We'll do so on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. There you have it, my friends. That's our show, our prayer, our meditation. We've made it through another day. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, you be safe. And I'll be back soon. Peace. I'm out of here.